African voice in diaspora. Chinedwani TV. Voice of the voiceless, yo. Chinedwani TV. Make we talk our talk, yo. Chinedwani TV. Nobody can talk our talk for us, yo. Chinedwani TV. Africans arise. Time don't reach, yo. Make we talk our talk, oh. Oh yeah, everybody join the Chinedwani TV. Not that it happen, no. Not that it selenge. We don't talk our mind, yo. As it be now, so we don't talk more. Mama, papa, brother, sister, even know the YouTube. Subscribe and follow Chinedwani TV. Eba fukona potuno, eba fukona man. Now we'll be the voice of Africa in diaspora. Chinedwani TV. Voice of Africa, where they show. Chinedwani TV. Now where we go there. Chinedwani TV. Gather your family, call everybody. Oh. Chinedwani TV. Risi modo wenu webulegu.
Yes, so my people, how are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching Chinedwani TV from. This is Chinedwani TV, the African voice in diaspora. I don't know where you're watching us from, but you know today is a D-Day. Today we'll be having a very big brother, who has made name for himself and an entrepreneur, a podcaster, CEO of Goodman Energy Podcast in the United States. Spent over 2 decades of creating outstanding business experience in all spheres of life, especially in entrepreneurship. And today we are privileged to have him. So today we'll be having our great uncle, our great brother, from this divide. We'll be having Flint Addison today in the show. And remember, our topic today is Stop Competition, Start Collaboration. And you will stop competition. I know that he's going to find his road into the hearts of our great listeners and audience today. And at the end of the day, I know a lot of you will be disciples of his very wonderful ideology he has been known for. So today, he promised to bring it the way it should be. He promised to sacramentalize indelibly in our psychosomatic structures at the end of the show, ideologies, virtues, tendencies that will propel us to peace, propel us to collaboration as against competition. And let me have the privilege in this show today to invite our great brother, Flint, to this show. Hey. Flint,
hi. Thank you so much. That's a heck of an introduction. I hope I can live up to even half of what you just said, but we're going to bring some value and I'm excited to be on here. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Just for protocol's sake, just introduce yourself to our great audience, sir.
Absolutely. My name is Flint Anderson. I am the host of the Old Man Energy podcast. I am a serial entrepreneur full-time for over 20 years now. My wife and myself have raised 7 children, have 5 grandchildren, and have built several businesses over the course of those years. Some have succeeded, some have failed, but it's always been our business philosophy and my business philosophy that you cannot get ahead by yourself, that you must be in collaboration with people. You have to be networking with people, and at a rising tide lifts all ships. So I do not believe that any one person being successful means that he has to hold anybody else down, that we all make each other around ourselves successful. I've spent my entire career helping people do that, and I'm excited to share that message with you guys today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Flint. My people, you have seen, we have somebody today experienced a granddad, a dad, a granddad, you know. So I remember one story before we go on. I watched a movie which was it's also a book, but translated as a movie. They called Rome. I watched when Brutus murdered Caesar, and there was chaos in Rome. And when they gathered, the leaders gathered, they said, how can we resolve this crisis that this has done? One of the speakers said, the young people, Brutus, have done the dirty job, but they need a gray hair to speak to Romans. They looked for a man called Cicero, one of the greatest orators that existed in that empire. So when the gray hair spoke, the Romans retired to their houses in peace. So today we are privileged to have a gray hair. When we have a granddad, when we have a dad in the show, it means the gray hair is speaking to the Romans. So we have Flint Anderson today as a gray hair who is going to show experience. But naturally in this show, we like to encourage those who think that their present condition is their permanent destination by sharing how the story behind some of our beginnings. Like your business, I began a business with this. I was in school, like some of us school in Africa. I was a hawker. I hawked business in the street. I paid my own school fees with the school fees of my siblings from money I'm getting from being a conductor in the car. But today, by God's grace, I'm a voice in Africa. So when we share this kind of stories, he encourages people that Flint Anderson did not just fall from heaven and became the CEO of Old Man Energy podcast. So do you have any story like that in your business or private life or whatever to encourage those who think that their present condition is a permanent destination?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you. That was a great orator. I love that description. I don't think that we can have a completely separate life personally from our business. I've never believed that, and I didn't teach any of my children that. As far as growing up goes, I like the description. You said you were a hawker, which over here I've always been called a salesman or a sales rep, even from the time I was very young. We grew up poor. My mom was a nurse raising three of us, and she was a nurse before nurses made decent amount of money. So we didn't have anything. And I wasn't sure what I wanted when I grew up. I don't think any little kid sits back and says, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur when I grow up. Most of them can't spell it, let alone know what it means. But I knew that I didn't want what we had then. I knew that I didn't want to be poor. I knew that I didn't like the suffering associated with that. Watching my sisters be hungry and just being made fun of in school. And it was something that shaped me very young. I realized that I needed to make my own way in the world, that I wanted to be, at the time, I just wanted to be comfortable. After a while, I realized that there were two pieces to that I wanted not only to be comfortable, but I also wanted to have my freedom. I didn't like the fact that somebody could tell me what time I had to get up, when I needed to be somewhere, what kind of house I could live in, what kind of car I could drive, what time my wife had to get out of bed, just different things like that because of how much they paid me. I figured there had to be a better way. So that's why I became an entrepreneur. I always wanted to do things for myself and didn't have a great respect for authority that didn't deserve it. I had a lot of bosses over the years that were pretty bad. As a result, started working independently when I was young. And even when I did have to work for somebody else, I always had something going on at night or on the weekends that allowed me to earn my independence. After my wife and I got married, which was in the early 2000s, we had talked about this. We knew the sacrifices we were going to have to make, and we made some very deep sacrifices so that we both could allow and afford to have that freedom. And I brought her home 2 years later. I came home from the corporate world 3 years later, which was in 2004, and have been a full-time entrepreneur ever since. Love to tell you it's been all sunshine and roses. It is not. We've had some businesses in there fail. We've been bankrupt a couple of times. There's always been ups and downs, but the one thing that's been consistent is I was able to have my freedom. I was able to dictate when I did what I wanted to do and do things with my family, spend time with my children, spend time with my wife. And our youngest children never knew a time where I worked a corporate job where I was called away. They may have known that I had to go to work, but it was always my choice. And I think that quality of life for my family and that freedom for myself was worth every bit of the sacrifice that it took to make that happen. So hopefully you guys can take that story, and I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me, but where I came from should help show everyone that it doesn't matter. You don't have to start off with everything in the world. I started off with nothing and built everything that we've put together and shown my family that there was a better way, and hopefully be able to show that to you guys as well.
Yep. Thank you for that wonderful insight. You know, sometimes my intention when I established this platform was to give the African people a voice, and not just that, but I see what we do as a ministry. I see it as a calling, as a vocation, because it's not just about making the hell of money or having monetization or whatever, but it's a fulfillment. Like some of you who has the tendency, your disposition is underlined by the spirit of entrepreneurship. And it is a point for you to navigate your ideas to different anchors, or anchorages. So why I insist that you say this, and thank you for willingly saying all this kind of things, because I know some people who are listening to us today will look at themselves, look at you as a granddad, say you had up and down, and it will lead them out of situations that they think they cannot come out of. So thank you for that. And my people, those of you watching on Instagram, those on YouTube, those on X, those on TikTok, whatever, and those on Facebook, please, wherever you're watching from this time, please share the live video and let's get to work. We have our granddad, we have our very, very, very experienced dad here who will share a lot of things with us. Remember, our topic today is stop competition, start collaboration. So my first question would be, Flint Anderson, now, the world is growing in competition, both in business, to the extent that, like, I'm giving an example as an African, it has entered African families that even couples compete with themselves. Couples, like my wife will try to show he's better than me, and it has gone to that extent. So, and in the world that we have known that have this spirit, you choose in your disposition to handle this topic. That means you subscribe to collaboration better than competition. What's the properly? What's the force behind this decision?
That's a powerful question. And it's easy to say stop competition, start collaboration, and it's difficult to implement. Now, I'm going to address the fact that you said couples first. And if you and your spouse are not on the same page and you're not working towards a common goal, then you guys need to have a real serious talk. You need to sit down, and you should not be warring with each other inside of your relationship. You may choose to go about it different ways, and that's fine. But love in a relationship is not sitting in two chairs facing each other, staring into each other's eyes. It's two people standing next to each other, looking forward towards a common goal and dream, and working to raise and bring your family through that and through everything that life throws at us. So that's where it starts. Now, does that mean that if you're not on the same page with your spouse that you can't continue to succeed and win in business? Absolutely not. But it does make it a heck of a lot easier if you can get on the same page with your spouse. And the thing about it is, and I'm going to speak to the guys on this because and there's some ladies out there, but I'm not one, so I can't speak to how they think. But there's a lot of us guys out there that are pretty freaking stubborn. and we don't want to listen. So sometimes we'll run off and do something and fail, or say we're going to do something and then not actually do it, and our spouse is sitting back watching, and they may not even say anything about it at that time. But then whenever we come up with a new idea, we forgot about all that other stuff that we already did. So now they're like, they don't appear to be on board. And it's not so much that they're not on board with what we want to do, it's that they don't want to watch us get hurt again. They don't want to get excited about something and watch us quit again, because your spouse doesn't ultimately want to see you fail. So remember, when you get that feedback from them, that may not be resistance, that may be protection. And it's up to you to figure that out one way or the other. As far as it comes to business, here's my philosophy on business. I couldn't even tell you who my competition is in my companies. I don't pay attention to it. I don't sell to price, because I really believe that if you sell to price, all you're doing is racing to the bottom as to see who can provide the least amount of value at the cheapest price. And that is not what I want to be associated and known with. Now, I will approach my clients with value, and as a result, I will collaborate with other people to help me provide that value. If my particular client can't afford me, or they can't afford the price that I have to provide it for, I will make a relationship with somebody else that I can refer them to that will be able to satisfy their need. That ends up being a win-win. That client is shocked because I'm willing to refer them to somebody else, and that other person that's providing their need that can do it in within their budget, they will remember that and they'll reciprocate as well. So that's one thing that I teach as far as the spirit of collaboration as opposed to competition. I'm sure there is some competition out there, but whenever it comes to bidding or talking about that, I will lead with the question: are you guys looking for a price-based decision, or are you looking for a value-based decision? Because if it's price-based, let's save each other some time. If it's value-based, then I think we can have a good conversation about what's happening going forward. There is no reason to tear another business person down so that you can get ahead, ever. You should always find a way to collaborate with them, even if you're in the same industry, because they're going to be good at something that you are not good at. And you guys are going to be able to share back and forth and be able to both grow. So that's why I love this topic and teach it all the time. I'm excited to be here and talk about it. Thank you. My goodness, look at all the comments. Thank you for the love, guys. I appreciate that. I can't hear you.
I said, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I said that's just from one Facebook. That's from the Facebook. I bet I'm seeing other ones from Instagram, from other ones, but this one you're seeing now is just from Facebook. So it's okay. Thank you. Because I don't know why my spirit chose you to speak on this matter. You know, you remember how we met? I just saw you, and my spirit said, this person would be good to talk to us on this. And I think I didn't make a wrong decision from what I'm seeing here. So you see, it is just like you said. You said it's very easy to subscribe to let's collaborate as against competition, but when it comes to implementation, it's always very difficult. What are those things you think there are challenges for those who really want to collaborate? Or those things that can militate against successful collaboration?
Fear. I think it's all driven by fear. Fear of loss, fear of failure, fear of opening up. You don't engage in collaboration with people around you because you're afraid of something. Because if you think about it, we don't find reasons not to work with people. We're usually looking for reasons to work with people, but we're afraid of working with people because maybe we don't trust them. Maybe we don't know them well enough to trust them. We don't know if they're people of integrity. Maybe we're afraid of losing out on something that we find valuable. Maybe we're afraid of losing out on market share. Most of what I talk about is going to be from entrepreneur perspective because it's the way I think. But we're afraid that by giving a piece of ourselves to help somebody else succeed, that we're going to lose out on something else. So the internet describes this as fear of missing out. It's actually a sales tactic that's used. It's like, okay, well, everybody else is doing this, so you want to hop on board. That's the opposite of fear of collaboration. Whereas we could really, if we could grow to trust each other and work with each other, then we wouldn't have that fear and we'd be able to work together moving forward. But overcoming that fear is challenging in today's environment because of this. And it's ironic that our telephones have us more connected to everybody. I mean, look at here right now. I'm speaking around the world from my living room. I have access to the entirety of human knowledge in my hand. And yet I'm afraid, and I'm using myself metaphorically here, but we're afraid to go speak to our neighbor. We're afraid to go speak to the person that's in business with us. Even in networking environments, even in business environments where you're supposed to talk to people, people are still afraid to go and make that personal connection. So I'm going to challenge you, if you have people around you that you think you might want to collaborate with, or you think you could have a profitable relationship with, go say hello to them. Just lead with that. Have a cup of coffee with them, meet with them, set up a purpose to just talk to them without the intent of doing anything other than getting to know each other. I really think that's the first step, is we have to get back to knowing how to identify people we want to work with. And the only way to do that is to practice talking to people and making friends with people again, because you're not going to collaborate with somebody you don't like. You might pay somebody you don't like, but you won't collaborate with them, because hiring somebody and collaborating with them are not the same thing.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's wonderful, because I think this is a very striking point. Fear, false existence of all realities. Something, false existence. Sometimes those things are for the Christian Bible. I think in one part of Job, I think it's Job chapter 3. I don't know the particular verse. I don't want to quote out of context, but it said, that which you fear comments unto you. That which you fear confronts you. You know, so I read a book by Norman Vincent Peale. He called it The Power of Positive Thinking. He said the difference between can and cannot is the not. If you remove the not, you can. I read another book by Scuba. He said tough times do not last, but tough people do. So, and to toughen yourself is against fearful ideas that come your way. Sometimes it is not stopped from your internal disposition. You imagine and create fear for yourself. Sometimes fear don't exist. Okay, Mrs. Okosin, one of our collaborators, are knocking. Let me see if she's here. Hello, mommy.
Hi.
Come down, the camera, come down.
I'm trying. It's like you are covering me.
Let me see now. Let me see. I'll place it where, don't worry. Okay, this is Mommy Okosin. Mommy Okosin is always is a co-host with me, and each time we have very advanced and interesting topics like this, she has always appeared. And Mommy, this is Flint Anderson I told you of, and we all approved about his coming, and today he's live on the show talking on competition, stop competition, and start collaborating. So I know you have been watching from behind, but it's good you're here too.
Yeah, that was so good. I was listening to him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
Thank you for the time. You took your time to come to the show. How proud are we? Thank you.
I'm honored to be on here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I was listening to you.
Okay.
I was listening to you talk about collaboration. And he asked one question, he said, what do you think it was, why people don't collaborate to build something? And you talk of fear. You talk of fear of failure. You talk of that was my question that I was going to ask you, and you have already hammered some of the things that I was expected to hear from you. Now, if I have to contribute more, people, the people that you call to join you in anything you're doing in your company, your business, like when you have a company, then you hire people, right? You hire people to work for you. People work under you. They expect to get compensated one way or the other, right? When they're working for you. So when you have all those people working for you and they get that fear of not being compensated at the end of the day, that's one of the things that I think you said is the reason that people sit back for not cooperating with the person who is building that corporation or wherever that person is building. Now, how do you encourage those people? How do you encourage those people to forget about that fear, that there is something bigger, that they should be looking at a bigger picture instead of having fear in their mind?
That is a huge question. And I think you may have conflated a couple of pieces of what I was saying, but I like the way that you phrase that and ask that question. So for people that work for me, and this is true across the board, for people that work for me that I've hired to do jobs for me, every single one of them has a slight fear of not being compensated no matter how much they trust you. Now, you can get to a point where they'll show up and they'll work and they'll know they get paid for it, but you have to earn that by paying them for that. And even then, if that paycheck shows up a little bit later, that payout shows up a little bit late, that fear immediately comes back. So that's one thing. That's working together, but that's hiring somebody. The other piece of that is when you collaborate with somebody, you're adding value. So by you two working together, you're adding value. And the reason you don't collaborate with people, the reason people don't collaborate with you is because you have not done a good enough job of showing them the additional value that they're going to get in working with you. And there's several ways to do that. First, always be a person of integrity. So when they go look you up on Google or they go look you up on Facebook, your message needs to be consistent across all platforms. You need to have been saying the same thing. You need to have been showing that. If you go see me on Instagram, you're primarily going to see fitness videos, but my message doesn't change. It's still integrity. Work hard. Do what you say you're going to do. You look at me up on Facebook, you're going to see family. You're going to see my grandkids. You're going to see more family-oriented stuff, but the message is still the same. You see me on TikTok, you're going to see me being silly because that seems to be where my wife posts all the silly stuff that I do. But the message doesn't change. LinkedIn, it's primarily business, but the message doesn't change. So in order to establish value, you have to lead with integrity. You have to have a conversation with people in a confident manner, meaning you have to believe in your own message enough that that comes across in the people that you're talking with. And then you have to be able to demonstrate explicit value that they're going to get from your collaboration. What does that mean? It means you have to have a clear mission. You have to have very good ideas that you know work. And sometimes that means having gone out there and done it yourself. And then you have to have a lack of fear, and because courage is really fear, but you don't necessarily need courage in looking for a collaboration. You have to have a lack of fear in being able to share and being willing to share in your success. What happens when you can bring all three of these things together is so powerful, because you will take something that you can do yourself, which is one times because you're one person doing it. But when two people come together with resources on a common goal and work towards it, it can be as powerful as up to 5 times more than what either one of them could do themselves. And this has been demonstrated time and time again, because one of them is going to take part of that idea and be so much better at it than the other one, which frees the other person up to do what they're good at. And you just multiply those efforts over and over and over again. But it starts with integrity, it continues through communication, and it grows through lack of fear.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Then I have another question for you. Now we talk about your subordinates, people that are supposed to join you to build this empire, entity, or whatever you are building, the company. People that are supposed to be uh, your back holder. Now, we talk about then of them shouldn't be afraid, clear that fear, do what you're supposed to do, just like you said. But what is your advice for that person who is the yardstick, the person who is actually somebody is collaborating with? What does that person supposed to do to earn to for the people, the subordinates, to earn his or her trust?
Okay, I think let me come in here 1 minute. So I think Flint Anderson well, touched that money a bit. One of the things he mentioned is integrity. He said your message must remain the same thing, even when it is shown in different platforms. He gave an example of how he appears for exercise and gym and whatever on Instagram, but still have the message of you can do what you can do, don't give up, believe in yourself. And when you go to Facebook, you have the pictures of himself, the family, the grandchildren, but still the same message. And when you go to TikTok, he has something slightly different to display, but still the same message. So what he's trying to say is that consistency, transparency, and integrity must be your second name. And that is the only way the people looking at you can have muster the courage as against fear, to sustain and consolidate the continuity of the rapport you have already established. Unless on the way they will fall out. But for them to stick, in continuity, you need to unconditionally and religiously show integrity.
Okay.
So
I heard that. I thought he was talking about the people who were supposed to collaborate with the head. So he was saying that about the May person. Okay. All right.
yes, that's
Okay. I think I can.
Okay.
If
What do you want to add to what I just said?
I think I can. I think I understand where she's coming from, and thank you for the recap. As far as that goes, because that's the first part of it. As I understand your question, is how do you, if we were going to rephrase it, is how do you get other people to believe in your dream and the goal for the company as much as you do yourself? And that's where I think the real next step is. As far as somebody that has my back, it's my subordinate. That's a matter of partnering with the right people, and it's a matter of putting the right people in place that work for you. And I spend a lot of time thinking about this, is how, because there's nothing more powerful than somebody who is in alignment with your dreams and your goals. And face it, not every person out there has any desire to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of people out there that they enjoy showing up to work, doing their job, knowing that they're doing a good job and that they're growing a company. It doesn't have to be their vision, going home and living their lives. There's nothing wrong with that at all. If people like that didn't exist, entrepreneurs as we know us could not exist. I have a very powerful team that works for me, that shares in my vision, that is made up of people that do this, and they're all talented in different areas. And even to the point where I wouldn't want their job. My assistant, Tracy, was trained by my wife for over a year to work directly with me. I wouldn't want her job. I wouldn't be good at it. If I had to work with myself, I'd probably quit in the first week. So finding the right people to put in those positions is important, and being able to clearly and specifically articulate what the dream is, what the goal is, and what direction the company is going, or what direction the collaboration is going, depending on the relationship with the person. That's just as powerful as having it defined in the first place. And I can't tell anyone specifically how to do that, because that all depends on your personality. If I were to come across super aggressive, even though I'm a very mellow, easygoing guy, it seems ingenuine. It does not seem honest. People won't believe you. People won't follow your vision. The second thing, and the most important thing, is having integrity doesn't mean you're always right. It does mean that you admit when you're wrong. And if you've made a grave mistake, even if you've made a mistake with some of your subordinates or the people that are working with you, you go to them, you admit your mistake, you apologize for it, and then you fix it. Those two things together will get people on board with your vision. And then some people never will be. Sometimes you hire the wrong person. If you hire the wrong person and they're not in alignment with the goals of the company, get rid of them faster than you hired them, because it will start to impact every area of your business.
You see, thank you so much. You see, I have a contribution to what you just said. When you look around, we're talking to worldwide. You are an American.
Yes.
You live in probably Missouri.
I live in Florida.
You live in Florida. Okay, you're an American. Let's stick with the country type. You're an American. So we are talking to worldwide. When you look at other countries, for example, like in America, let me talk about America first. In America, everybody have their own upside down. Every country have their own weight that they put that they want to change. Like, hey, I wish my government work like this, or I wish your household work like this, or I wish me as a person, I'm like this, or I wish my husband. So there's something that somebody always want to change. Is something as a country. So let me go back to my country, since we are talking about worldwide. The reason you see that people mostly don't want to collaborate with other people is that fear. We have seen so many instances whereby people, they went to go work, learn how to, they serve their bosses. They stay there for years and years and years and years and years. When it's time for their boss to free them, like you learn work, you serve them for like period of years. When it's time for you to free them so that they can have theirs, open up their own shop or whatever they're doing, you see their boss will fail them. So in that case, you see these people, when they come in, they want to grab, they want to take something that is valuable as much as they can while they are there, you understand me? Before it's too late, before the person who they serve fail them. So that fear has always been there when it comes to other country, like third world country that doesn't really work, like America work. Like America, there is a chance you can tell somebody, you go to court, the court fix it. But some other country, they don't have that. So these are the reasons why people get scared. These are one of the reasons why people get scared and they don't want to collaborate with other people. But my message to everybody is just like what you said, like believe in yourself, believe in your heart, and just do what you know how to do well. Follow your spirit. And there is always something out there for you to do, for you to win. When you add to somebody, there's always something out there for you to gain. When you join somebody to do something, like there's always a say that says, when you want to run faster, you run by yourself. But when you want to run farther and get to the point, you run with people. Because when you tire, those people will be people who will hold you up and drag you to the finish line. As long as we have that mindset, and as long as we have that will, whoever you join, you will always win. There is nobody, to me, I don't feel like there is anybody who will fail when you hire somebody and you give them the chance to be able to eat at the same table where you are eating. Because at the end of the day, when you get there, when they add their value, everybody come with their value, you will always win. So those people who are coming in to join, I don't think they should look at the primary prize right now. I think when you're looking at the chicken leg, fighting over chicken leg, I always think there's an elephant out there waiting for you to divide if you are patient. So that's my take on this collaboration.
I love that. I love that. And I can add to that on a couple of levels. One, if you let fear dictate your life, you will always be miserable. And there's just no other way around that. You have to find a way to win. You have to find the good in everything. And if you're in a bad situation, don't stay in it. There's people of integrity that exist everywhere. Sometimes they're harder to find than others. I completely understand living in fear. I lived a lot of the first part of my life just terrified of everything because of the way I grew up. It's no way to live. The other thing is that I can speak for myself personally, and I've had more than one person ask me specifically, said, wait a minute, you're training us to be your competition. Because everybody that comes to work and does collaborate with me, I'll teach them exactly how to do what I've done. I believe in abundance, and I believe that you find what you're looking for. So if you want to live a lifestyle of abundance, you teach people how to have abundance.
That's right.
Life is not a pie that can only be cut into so many pieces, and that's it. So if somebody wants a bigger piece, another person have to get a smaller piece. That's not how it works. Life is a bakery. You can make as many pies as you want if you know how to do it. And the people that do know how to do it have a responsibility to teach the people that don't. And that's the philosophy that I've built my business by. And I don't know if there's any of my guys on here on Facebook that are watching this live right now, but if there are, chime in the comments. I can think of 4 or 5 that are still on my Facebook right now that are literally in competition with me. And I trained them and taught them how to do it. Sway would be one of them. Asaph would be another, because I don't care. I want to see everybody win.
And that makes you win.
Every time.
That makes you win. I love that. I can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Addison, for your very mature and very experienced way of reacting to these questions. And thank you, Momikosun, for your very insightful questions, because it triggered a deeper conversation from our granddad and and the audience. You can look at the level emoji and everything. It shows that the audience are really not just entertained, but it's a you promised in your introductory video that you're going to show wisdom as much as possible. Yeah. I think wisdom is shared here. Thank you. So I want to ask a question specifically. This is an African platform with very, very open mind to simulate and to take Western tendencies in order to improve on what we already have. Do you understand? So that is why people like you, when you come and speak to us, we feel so encouraged, because some of the things that are not African, you come from your own background, and we add it to what we know, and we minus those ones who are not progressive, and add your own, which can help us to step up. So this question comes this way: if there are tendencies in Africa that everybody wants to be a boss. Everybody wants to be a boss. From where I come from in Nigeria, there's a marketing concept we call apprenticeship. If you want to trade, you will go and spend some time with somebody who has the business. You spend like 6 years. The man, just like what you're doing, the man will establish the same business he's doing for you. Thereby, you know what it means? Just like you said, you are setting people up for competition with you. So this has kept the Igbo race, a race in Nigeria, very, very business-oriented and sense of entrepreneurship. That concept is already being studied now in Harvard. So people that always think of, I want to be the boss, I want to be the boss. Please, what advice can you give to the young people with your own experience to encourage teamwork, encourage collaboration, and the sense of protocol, following due process? Before you become a boss, you have to serve. Because if you just become a boss without having the experience of serving, you will not even know what you will tell those who will serve you. So I would want you to talk from that dimension and making reference to just the African setup and where we're coming from, sharing your own orientation as what we will learn to add to what we already know.
I'm going to use part of your question to answer that. This is a fun question, and it's a great thought experiment because it's actual reality and it's something that you can implement immediately. Some of you guys that are older that are listening to us on here are going to relate to this, maybe not in the way that I'm about to explain it. And for you younger folks, I'm going to encourage you to get over the fact that I've got a gray beard and listen to what I'm about to tell you, because this will be some of the most powerful advice that you've ever heard. Number one, you have to get your ego out of the way. And that's hard to do. 20-year-old, 25-year-old, I want to be a boss. You're full of dreams, you're full of goals, you're just the world is at your fingertips, and that's the way you feel. And you haven't had enough failure in your life yet to feel the frustration of not getting what you want. Right now you believe you can do anything. The challenge for you is, while you're learning, to not become cynical and not give up on those goals and dreams. What's the word I'm looking for here? The concept of a servant leader is more powerful than you can understand right now, because you just not because you're stupid, but because you're ignorant to that level of experience. There's nothing wrong with ignorance. Ignorance is lack of knowledge. You have to admit that you don't have the knowledge to be the boss yet. And this is where I'm going to pull a piece of the question out of it. The most powerful training program anywhere in the world ever invented in history is the apprenticeship program. And here's why. And here's what nobody ever talks about with the apprenticeship program. We always look at the surface of it is, okay, well, you're going to work for somebody for 5 or 6 years or 10 years or however long the program is, and you're going to get good at the practice of doing what you're doing. Here's the piece we don't think about, and young people, pay close attention to this. If you go into an apprenticeship program with a master, you're working on real things. You're not doing practice. You're working with real supplies. You're working with real products. You're creating masterpieces and being taught how to do it by somebody who trusts you enough to use real materials, to use real cost, to use real-time implementation. You are not only being taught how to do your craft, you are building your own legacy with your hands, one piece at a time. So if you reframe that and you become good at building your own legacy and become an expert in the field that you've chosen to become at, you won't have to try to be the boss anymore. It will just happen naturally.
Wow. In the little experience I have in journalism, there's what they call punchline. Punchline. I think this is the punchline for the whole of this conversation. For you to be a servant leader, this is what the world is lacking, that is bringing about rifts, political rivalries, and all that. If we have 7 leaders who understand that their position is position of service, and their position is position of sacrifice and privilege in leadership, we will not have problems, both in Africa and in the Western world. I think this entrepreneurship that in Africa, entrepreneurship has not gotten to be part of the curriculum in many institutions. We are still going on with the advocacy. Unlike the Western countries, that entrepreneurship is now, a part of what you study in any institution. In Africa, it has not been set aside as part of what we can study, and that is what is ruling the world. You know what it means, that what is ruling the world is not being studied in Africa. So it's a big problem and challenge that we are advocating, we are crusading seriously to make sure that institutions in Africa will embrace entrepreneurship, put it in their curriculum. In fact, as the nucleus, as the life-giving wire of any kind of studies in the higher institutions or in the colleges, So, and the output will be great. So I love what you just said now about entrepreneurship, and I am so grateful. Mrs. Sokosa? Do you have anything to say about servant leadership? I'm not hearing you, Mom.
Give me that question again. Give me that question again. Come again, please.
He said something about servant leadership. When he said this is going to be one of the most important thing he's going to say in this conversation, I paid attention, and what I grabbed as a punchline was servant leadership. For you to grow to be a leader, you must know what it means to serve. So, as against the background of the question that people don't just want to be bosses without passing through due process, without growing, without experiencing what do you call it? As what we call it in Africa.
That's what he said. He said, which is a really cogent and a really clear statement that he just made, and is the truth of life. Now, he said, when you service somebody, just know that you actually using the authentic things. Like you are learning. If you are learning how to carve a chair, the person bought the wood, the pen, the everything. That is, you are using the real things. You are not using fake to learn from somebody. Or like when you started your own business, you have to start from scratch with $1. This person probably already in about 1,000 that you started with. So when you're doing that, you got to know that you got to humble yourself. That this humbleness will take you further. That's what I learned in what he said, which is the truth of everything. Like I went to church and they were talking about somebody in the Bible who, whichever home he visits, he was serving people. I forgot the name in the Bible. He was serving somebody. Whichever home he visits to serve, that home will be blessed. So anywhere he goes is a blessing. He was actually a slave to a man, and the home became blessed because he was doing everything right. Because of that, when he started doing his own, the blessing follows him. You know why the blessing follows him? Because when he was under a boss, he was humble and he was learning everything. So that's what I got from his last statement.
Yeah, thank you. Let's appreciate those of them on the comment section, especially those who are coming from Flint Anderson's side. Alex Scott said, I love you. I love my job. New Taker says, thank you so much. I'm watching, bro, and a lot of people from your side. Then, and I'm still love Peter, Be Okoko, Sami Ikechukwu, and all of you, Mary Oban, Sam, Chukwemeka, Jay Francis, Ikobi Glory, and all of you. I can't mention all of you. And on Instagram, yeah, all of you in Instagram, I'm so happy that you're watching today. Thank you. Thank you, Bart, Amina, and Bose, and all of you. And those of you on YouTube, I also thank you. Let me check X. Let me appreciate those who are watching from...
Mr. Anuche. Mr. Anuche, is there anybody that asked any question? Do you know? Any question?
No, if there, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'll talk about that. Okay. All of you watching on X, thank you for watching. I have a lot of people watching from X. All right. You see X is live on X also. So thank you for watching. We just want to appreciate you and the support you are giving our granddad Flint Addison for coming to this show and letting us know what we don't know before out of experience and out of wisdom. So I told you before that once the gray hair speaks, a lot of things happens with the new generation. So the impact of what you're saying today cannot be overemphasized. I know in the nearest future, you might be seeing reactions in your own page to know that you have really found a road into the heart of a very great audience today. So thank you for that. I want to ask one other questions before I allow people to react from the comment section. And the question is, from your experience, how does collaboration fuel industries like entertainment, entrepreneurship, and tech?
You cut out on part of that at the beginning of the question. I heard the list of industries, but what about them?
How can collaboration fuel? You know, my accent, maybe you don't understand. I mean fuel like gasoline. Fuel industries, entrepreneurship, and entertainment.
So, if I understand the question correctly, you wanted to know how I believe that it will help in those industries grow.
Collaboration. Let me use another
word. Grow the industries.
Yeah, how can collaboration encourage the growth of industries, entertainment, and entrepreneurship?
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying. I want to make sure I answer your question.
Yeah.
Collaboration works across industries much in the same way. The beautiful thing about collaboration is that every time two people come together with original ideas, they will find a way for things to grow. And what is collaboration really? It's solving problems in a unique way. It's finding a solution and getting somebody to pay you for that solution. So you had listed entrepreneurship, tech, and entertainment. Collaboration in tech is everywhere. There's very little tech right now that exists without collaboration. I'm going to use Elon Musk as an example of that. You'll hear people refer to Elon Musk's PayPal mafia. He leveraged collaboration very, very early on. He brought together some very, very smart people, put them in a room, had an idea, and they all helped him through collaboration create PayPal, which was a payment system that had never been heard of before. As a matter of fact, when it came around, the technology wasn't even equipped to handle it. The technology, which was the original Palm Pilot, that you got a Palm 5 so that it could handle PayPal, not because they needed another Palm Pilot. So that's one way that collaboration helps with just helps with vision, and it helps with realization. So that's one massive example of tech. But everywhere you look in tech, everything is collaboration. When it comes to entertainment, and entertainment's been notoriously a cutthroat field. Okay, well, I'm going to fight for this part, or I'm going to fight for that part. But some of the most memorable concerts, some of the most memorable, what do you call them, mashups, when you put two different types of music together and people come together to collaborate, you get something totally new and totally unique. Or you get a director who directs historically one type of movie but brings somebody else in who acts in a different type of movie, and all of a sudden you now have something totally unique. Mad Max Fury Road is the number one thing that pops into my head with that. That's a 100% action movie. The entire movie's one long action scene, and his wife was the one that edited it, and she did not edit action movies. There's a whole article about this, and she refused to do it initially. And it's one of the most beautiful action movies I've ever seen. And I love action movies, don't get me wrong. So those are two examples in those areas. But in entrepreneurship, there is no limit to what collaboration can create. You get two people or four people or five people come together and create something that nobody has ever seen before. You can look at any of the large brands. Those were all an idea at one time. Microsoft was an idea at one time. Apple was an idea at one time. The iPhone that you have in your pocket was just an idea. Yeah, Steve Jobs may have had the vision, but he brought people in to help create his vision to collaborate on it. Not to go back to Musk again, but he had the vision of private company going to space. So did Oh, why can't I remember the name? Virgin Galactic. They both brought people in smarter than themselves, and that's saying something for both of those guys to create their vision. So you can literally do anything you can put your mind to if you bring in the right people. You have a common vision that's clearly defined, and you're willing to put in the work. And the one piece that we're really missing out of this entire conversation is the importance of being willing to put in the work, the importance that suffering on the front side it has in every piece of this, because nothing we're talking about is sunshine and roses. All you see is the flashy stuff at the end, but you don't see the long days, the late nights, the sacrifices, the work, the being tired, the doing it tired anyway. You don't see all of that. And then being willing to do that side by side with somebody else. It is truly suffering, but it's suffering by choice instead of accidentally.
Wow, that's Mummy Kosi, can you see experience? And I think, without going far, I think we are, for three of us to be in this show, and with the audience and the connection from, you see, the collaboration from YouTube, Facebook, X, in one system now, and your experience, my little platform, and Mommy Okosin here, you can see how the collaboration is working. So this means the Africans are listening to a white man who has pure white orientation, and we from Africa. But the common denominator is that collaboration has no respect for color. It has no respect for race. It has no respect for where you come from, but it has respect and it subscribes solely to success and prosperity when entrepreneurship, industry, or entertainment comes up. So that is what I understand from your answer. So wherever color, wherever background, wherever cultural affiliation, temperamental differences, enigmatic codes, whatever you are made up of, collaboration has always subscribed to success across all races, across all continents. So wherever you are and you listen to Flint Anderson today, you must always put in your memory that collaboration is success no matter wherever it is being practiced. So thank you, Dad. Thank you, Granddad, for coming this far. Thank you. If I will go further, enjoying the privilege of your coming here with respect to 1 hour, as you told you, because I like respecting 1 hour. If you're told to give advice to the whole world now concerning collaboration, I'm going to record this one. I know I will automatically record it, but this particular thing you're going to say now will be the first projection and post I'm going to make, because I want to hear from the gray hair and I want Africa to hear. You see that the first intro, this thing you made, you had about 47,000 people listen to it. So this one is going to be greater because this is the real gist. So please, we want to have, let me say, global advice from Flint Addison on collaboration as against competition.
Well, no pressure there. So I'm going to give, and this goes back to the consistency and to the integrity. I'm going to give the same advice that I would give to a young person asking me. I would give to a large group, anybody. Find somebody who's living the life that you want to live, that has integrity, and model yourself after them. If you have access to them and they can mentor you, that's that much better. If not, learn everything that you can about them, whether it's from books, whether it's from newspaper articles, whether it's from getting close to them, and model as closely as you can. In other words, don't take advice from people not qualified to give it. And don't model your ideal life after somebody who's living one that you don't want to have?
Wow. Mommy, did you see that point,
let
right?
me tell you.
Don't take advice from people who are not qualified to give it. This takes me to the rascality we are seeing in the social media platform today. You can see somebody who never married, he had no experience about marriage, and he wants to see him, and he wants to be a relationship therapist. So
No. So, I get a whole lot from
it's
your
funny.
topic today, Mr. Flint. Another solid point that I'm taking with me today is when you give people space to grow, like you, how you taught people, and today they are doing their own thing. What I gain from that is when you give people space to grow, you always win. Always win.
Yeah.
And that's it. You always win. They don't always win. But watching somebody fail because they gave up on themselves is one of the hardest skills to learn. Because another thing that I will teach too is that you never take advice from somebody who's not emotionally or financially invested in the outcome of it. That's how you choose a mentor. You're either paying them for their advice or they're going to be impacted based on the advice they give you because of emotions. Otherwise, it's worth exactly what you paid for it.
This is beautiful. Thank you. I love it.
Have you seen sometimes why I told you that I'm careful about the kind of people I bring to my show,
Right.
because or people that I call mentors, because or people that I follow, especially people that I would like to come into the business I'm doing. You see, a lot of people, there are things I've discovered while studying. I'm a bookworm. I read a lot, and one of the books I read, 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene, it says, so when a man is not qualified to be a spearhead, don't make him an arrow. If he's not qualified to be a spearhead, he cannot be an arrow. You understand? So a lot of people now, assumption is what is in vogue. Assumption. A lot, and the social media impact, because it is giving us a lot of freedom. They are very uncensored. Somebody can sit down in their room, type something on Facebook and post it. Somebody can stay and post something on Instagram, uncensored. Nobody has looked at it to see if it's true or not. Nobody has even referred to the person's background to see if it can be made reference to as an authority. So, because you can't give what you don't have. So, and the bandwagon of rascality in the social media, a lot of people just keep believing, keep listening, that's what is going on today. And you see half-baked man trying to institutionalize his half-bakedness in others. And you see that everybody becomes a victim. So when somebody who is not qualified trains you, you're not qualified. An illegal structure cannot bring out a constitutional structure. So that's it. Somebody is not trained. Somebody is not an entrepreneur. And he wants to be a motivational speaker. We are seeing it everywhere. He wants to talk to great audience. He wants to create platform. And nobody trained him. He has no experience. He has no emotional intelligence on that space. So this social media rascality that has been shown, what do you think of, Mr. Flint, that can be done for us to have a better training and a reference point to those who tomorrow we can say, yes, we met people like Flint Anderson?
The good news is that there are just as many people out there giving good advice away, because there's a lot of people out there that have a heart and just want to share and see people win, as there are people out there that have no idea what they're doing. I was approached a couple of months ago by a 22-year-old who was supposedly a life coach. That was a little bit of a spicy conversation on his end, because what's a 22-year-old going to teach a 50-year-old about life? It's like, dude, you haven't even lived long enough to do anything yet. You're not. The personal trainer approaches me at the gym, weighs 95 pounds, probably not going to listen to them. Goes back to don't take advice from people who are not qualified to give it. Here's the way you choose. One, listen to them. If they're a compelling speaker, go look up stuff about them. If everything posted about them and everything they post is all positive and happy, immediately delete them out of your feed because it's fake. If everything out there is hate and discontent and negative, delete them out of your feed because it's probably real. What you want to do is you want to find somebody who is true and authentic, and you can't fake it. But what happens is too often on social media is the algorithm on each of these platforms is designed to keep you on the platform. So it shows you more of what you want, what it thinks you want to hear. So you end up living in this massive echo chamber where you think you're right, and everything you see on social media reinforces your opinions, and they don't show you any differing opinions. So you never have the ability to grow. So find somebody that you like, go see if they're telling the truth. Number two, listen to people that have opinions different than you. It will make you a more well-rounded person. And it will also give you a perspective that nobody else has, because you can argue both sides. I was told by one of my mentors a long time ago that you need to be able to argue this position that you disagree with just as well as you can argue the position that you agree with. Only then is true knowledge attained. Only knowing your half of the story just makes you pig-headed and stubborn.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah,
Well said.
This podcast, I don't feel like going, man. So, for those of you who are in the comment section, if you love what Flint Anderson is doing here, let me see. Love emoji, please. Love emoji. And for you, Flint Anderson is the Facebook page. I want to see a great followership on his page as a source of appreciation for finding out time to come and dish out this very palatable intellectual meal for all of us today. So we know people like you, how much they are paid to be listened to in US, but I want to categorically state here that I did not pay you anything for you to be here, but because of your very large heart and your concern and commitment to entrepreneurship and why young people should learn and grow, I think that's the propelling principle why you're here. And we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I thank you guys and all the guys in the comment section and gals. Thank you for that love. I appreciate that. I want to point out too that I told you not to send me any questions. That I did not know what you guys were going to ask me here because I wanted it to be true and authentic.
Yes, I
wanted to speak
I was
from
the one
heart.
who said, can I send you the questions? He said no, that you love it coming original, that you really want to come out the way you are, so that I don't want it to look like you don't want it to look so mechanical. So, and that is it. So I wanted to send you the questions before now, but and you see, it's better. Just like when you told me I subscribe to your opinion, I say it's better, But some people would want that, Yeah, more love emoji in appreciation, please, in appreciation. So, So we're happy that you're here, but before we draw the curtain for the day, I would like to ask you, what do you think about this young boys platform?
I've never had the opportunity to speak on a platform like this. I loved the interaction out here, and I've really enjoyed the spontaneity of your questions. and the truthfulness hidden in your questions. There was the and you live in St. Louis, so you understand. In America, we have trained ourselves that we're not supposed to speak about certain topics, that certain things are taboo, and you should automatically get offended if somebody brings a certain topic up. And you guys didn't avoid that at all. You asked me questions. You asked me questions from the perspective of where you live, from the perspective of where your audience is all over the country. We specifically addressed the fact that there is different races in the world, but it shouldn't matter, and that you should be blind to that. And you guys brought that up, and I love that very much, because here you bring it up and all of a sudden, oh my goodness, and everybody runs around and pretends to be offended. So I have enjoyed being able to have a candid conversation with you guys. That's been powerful, and I think this is going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to tell you that this is your show. Anytime you think that we can come in, collaborate with you, just like the topic we prepared today, anytime, any day you want to speak to the African community,
Let us know.
There is any other platform that deals with the African community more than this one as of now. So each time you want to speak to the African community, this is the best place to be. And just give me a day notice. You'll be there, and then
you will be welcome.
That's a powerful testament, and that's a good. I appreciate that invitation, and I look forward to being back on here again to talk about some more difficult topics.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you. Okay, I want you to give a shout out to whoever you choose, mentors, mentees, family. Just give a shout out to anybody you feel like before we draw the curtain final.
I appreciate that. I want to thank Alex for being on here and interacting. Alex has been a great friend and follower, and actually we met him on vacation, so that's really fun that we had that big of an impact. I was glad to see him. And I got to give a shout out to my wife, Des. She's my partner. She's my best coach, and she's the reason I am the man that I am today. I would not be what I am without her in my life. So, and all of you guys out there following me, if you have enjoyed this, you want to see more content like this, go follow me on the different platforms. Doesn't matter where, you're going to get the same message. Just depends on how you want to hear it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm grateful. Thank you. And Mommy Okosin, what will you say to him?
Oh, thank you for coming. We're so glad to have you. And you welcome back again and again and again and again. Thank you.
I'll take you up on that. Thank you again for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. I will look you up and follow you.
Yeah. So please go up and follow Flint, and for him to know that he has spoken to you as a sign of appreciation that you really embraced this very conversation. It's not easy. I know how people like him are paid, but he has come selflessly to deliver this meal for us. So as Africans, you know that we appreciate things. We show appreciation. Appreciation is a sign, is an application for more. God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for coming. We'll talk about other things off camera, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Let's see.
Yes, my people, you can see we had a very wonderful person, one of the very great show presenter in the United States. That's Flint Anderson. That's the person we just had now. Before you listen to him in the United States, it's a very, very long process, but I was lucky enough to get him, and you have seen the way he's talking, the way he's addressing you, shows you who he is. So thank you for coming to the show. Thank you. Follow up, share this live video, and let's continue. God bless you. Bye-bye.